Welcome to another episode of Son of Sotep, and I'm Sotep. Let's get started. So, your curses are blessings, and your blessings are curses. A truth that descended upon me in my meditations, if you will. You know, every terrible thing that happens to you is an opportunity for you to help someone, for you to teach someone. Sounds corny. Let me ask you a question. If I said to you right now, life is short, enjoy it, live and love, and don't waste it, how impactful would that be to you, coming from me right now? Probably not very. It's probably something you've heard before, right? But what if I was terminally ill? What if I had cancer and I only had a few days left, a few hours left to live? When you looked at me, you can tell that I was rapping on death's door. My eyes were sunken in. All the crevices of my face were outlined, dark circles around my eyes, gaunt, emaciated. And you could tell that a virulent illness was eating me alive. And I looked at you in your eyes, and I said, life is short, man. Don't waste it. I bet you would listen then. I bet in all the people who've ever told you that in your entire life, you would listen to me then in a situation like that. You see, when tragedy befalls you, you are imparted with a certain something, an energy, that's more convincing sometimes than if it doesn't. And you can use that. It's an opportunity for you to use it to reach other people and to help them. And that is the way in which a terrible thing that occurs in your life, a curse, is a potential blessing. You see, unfortunately, the curse is for you, but the blessing is for someone else. I'm sure you've heard of people who were victimized in some way, or they hurt themselves somehow, lost a limb. You know, you see pictures of guys or videos of guys who are in a wheelchair, no legs, or legs that don't function well, but they're working out, they're doing pull-ups, they're inspiring people. How much more inspiring do you think it is to see someone like that making no excuses than to see someone whole and healthy doing it? It's inspiring either way. But when a person perseveres through tragedy, there's a certain something that is extremely inspiring about that. And every tragedy that happens to you, you could potentially use it in that manner to reach someone else, to enliven someone else, to inspire someone else, to teach someone else. There's something that's to be said about experience. If I locked you in a room and nothing bad ever happened to you, you'll be a lot less convincing when you talk to people. See? But when some guy tells you, hey, I was a Navy SEAL. Hey, I was a Navy SEAL in Vietnam when it just started. You're probably going to perk up your ears. People who have experience, when they start to talk, sometimes the whole room goes quiet because you want to hear what they have to say because they lived through it. You see? So instead of bemoaning when something terrible happens to you, and we all do it, I do it, use that to help someone, to teach someone. Show them how you overcame it. Show them how you persevered. How were you able to stay positive when you were down, when you were depressed, when you were sad and your situation seemed hopeless? Impart that wisdom to them. You see what I'm saying? And bless them with your curse. And that's the truth of the matter. Everything that occurs to you is a potentially good thing in that you can teach someone else a valuable lesson that they may not have taken in otherwise. Someone said once, some philosopher, and I could probably think of who it was if I thought hard enough. What I've come to realize is every wise thing that's said, it's said for everyone. You don't have a cornerstone on wisdom because you said something clever. Wisdom is a bag that every wise man, every wise woman can reach into and pull out an aphorism. Look, someone said once, It's less important what happens to a man, what occurs in a man's life, as opposed to how he feels about it. That's what's really important. How do you feel about the things that have occurred to you? There are a lot of people who are filthy rich, wealthy, successful, blessed beyond measure, but they're miserable. How many people have you heard of who've won the lottery and who are broke, right? And in a worse plight than they were than before they got it. They've lost all their friends, their relationships have all been broken, right? By the apparent blessing that befell them. You see, there's always potential for a blessing to turn into a curse if you're not moderate about it, if you're not mindful about it, if you're not careful. And likewise, there's always the potential to use the energy of a terrible occurrence, a curse in your life, a pitfall that you stumbled into, an impediment that you were born with, something that you struggle with. There's always potential for you to use that to inspire someone, to teach someone. That's exactly what I'm doing here. The things I talk about are not always things that I've overcame, that I've figured out. Sometimes as I'm talking to you, I'm talking to myself. I'm coaching myself along. I'm somewhat of a lone wolf. So this is one of the tactics I've used for myself. I talk to myself just like I'm talking to you guys. And I push myself and I motivate myself the best I can. Some days I can only do it a little bit. Some days I fail utterly, terribly, I can tell you. Some days I'm successful, sometimes it works. And I'm just talking to you about things that I myself am struggling with. There's a lot of things that are going on in my life that I don't like. But I always try to remind myself to be grateful for what I have. And if I am truly struggling with something, I think to myself, there must be other people who are going through the same thing. Why don't I talk to them and teach them what I've learned that's helped me along the way? And that perspective is something that's really descended upon me from I don't know where. But I came to realize it one day. There are no such things as blessings and curses. They're just occurrences. And it's up to you to use them for one or the other. There are a lot of terrible things that have happened in history that have led to something positive in the end, and vice versa. The thing for us human beings, we're very short-sighted, and we just see what's happening right in front of us at the moment. But all of time is a long chain link, link upon link, link upon link, decade upon decade, century upon century, millennia upon millennia, and is stretching out to infinitum. And we don't see what the end result is going to be. And so you must be careful about judging based on your narrow perspective in the present. You see what's happening now. You can barely remember what's happened in the past. Think about all the things people were going crazy about in the past. And they kind of hardly remember. Now it's Corona. Before it was bird flu. It was swine flu before that. Then it was Y2K. Remember that? Our memories are so short, and it's one of the reasons why the media can play so many games with our minds. And our foresight to see into the future is even shorter. So to cast judgment on the present sometimes is very foolhardy because you don't know how things will turn out. It is always best, and it will always serve you best, to remain positive in life. So think about that, my friends. The next time something happens to you, think about what you've learned. You're going to overcome it. Think of all the things you've overcome. Lucius Seneca said, when you see many ambitions ahead of you, stop and think how many are now behind you. I love that saying. But when you see obstacles, think of how many are behind. You will overcome what's going on with you right now. But how are you going to use it to teach someone else to do the same thing? That, I think, is just about wrapping up, the whole purpose of existence. To better yourself and to use what you've learned to help your fellow man. If everyone did that, how much better a world would we live in if people didn't just make it their life's goal to take advantage of other people, to get rich, to tread upon their fellow men, to stomp us underfoot. It's a bad attitude. Anyways, son of Sotep, I'm reminding you, Your curses are potential blessings, and your blessings are potential curses. Be careful, be mindful. Remember, be positive. Hotep.